The first invites to Worlds have now been given out. I'm going over the top 3 placing list from Bandai Fest Dusseldorf. What's up everyone, it's Garrett Talking Cards, and today's episode's pretty cool. We're going to be going over the Dusseldorf Bandai Fest, which was the first World Championship Regional, if you will, or Nationals, and it gave out the first invites to the World Championships that will be taking place at a later date. First and second of this event get to go to World Championships and compete for the grand title. Now, third place didn't get an invite to Worlds, but I think it's still worth showing and highlighting their performance because it's a hell of an achievement. You know, to do this well at a national event is extremely hard, and I want to shout out all 3 players that topped this event and were the top 3, and we'll be going over each of their individual lists and what I like about them and what they did differently maybe than the meta, or where they're even the same. So let's start the breakdown with the winning list. So what deck took down the first ever World Championship Regionals, or Nationals if you will? Well, it was Blue-White Epyon. Now, I've been critical of Epyon over the GDO2 format. I think Epyon could be replaced with Aerial Gundams, with Justice Gundams, with more Freedom Gundams. I think the high end, I think you could even probably get away with playing Unicorns still. I think the high end is very subjective, and it's a lot based on player preference. For Thomas, Epyon worked, and I'm going to highlight some of the things he did to build around Epyon that I think were really, really smart. One of them being the new Tallgeese from GDO2. It is a level 4, cost 3 unit that during link and on attack gets to rest an HP 2 or less unit. Now, why is this good? Well, it's good for one thing. Against aggro, we need to clear their bodies, right? So that's really good there. Also, it helps us to rest things to attack into with maybe an Epyon if we get to a point where we need to just rest things and we're trying to draw cards and we're trying to take advantage of, you know, our Zex Marquise being on a unit that allows it to draw when one of our link units destroys one of theirs, with the Zex Marquise being linked to it. That allows us to draw a lot of cards and allows Epyon to go in and clear a lot of things. But mainly, I like this Tallgeese because it's a really good answer to aggro. If I can, you know, clear a unit and then rest another unit and then have one of my blockers just attack into that unit, we've taken out 2 units in one turn, and we were very aggressive into what aggro decks are trying to do, whether it be blue-green, blue-purple, or even the new red-blue we're seeing where they're playing Aegis Gundam. Another thing I really like about this list specifically are the bases. I think Thomas did a fantastic job of picking the best bases for his build and what he believed he was going to see that day. Let's go over it. Well, we got one Kusanagi. I've always been a big fan of Kusanagi. It helped me immensely in Canada, so I'm a big fan of Kusanagi. I also played it out of 1-of. I think it's perfect as a 1-of here. It can remove Rick Dios's. It can bounce things off the board. It has a, you know, that effect from burst as well, unlike some other bases where they don't get their effect, like a Corsica, off the burst. This still does, and I think that's really good. Speaking of burst effects still happening, with a base, I think Nihil Argama is really good at the same thing. It is very good to rest something and prevent an attack. This is really good in aggro. We can also use it on our turn to rest a unit and clear it off the board as well. So I love bases that can, you know, have so many different ways to play them and utilize them. Like in the final, if you go watch, Thomas multiple times played Argama over Argama to try to rest units. Like, he didn't care the fact that he had a 5 HP base there. He cared more about drawing a shield out of his shields and getting that card to hand and resting a unit. And I think that's right. By resting units, it allows us to clear things with Epyon and Tallgeese and draw cards, and I like that inclusion. Another inclusion he did was Argama, the one that does not allow you to take breach damage. And I think this is really good with, you know, into green-white, Argama is very good. Not being able to take damage from starter wing Gundam is very, very good. It makes the matchup a lot harder on our green-white players. So I really like the inclusion of Argama, and I really think that's where this deck really excelled. It really played some awesome bases. Due to the draw power of the deck, you can play such a variety and feel like you're gonna see them pretty consistently and have your choice of which ones to play. And I really like Thomas's list here. Another thing he did was just, 4 Libereth, 4 Rick-Dom, 2 Launcher Strike, and 2 Striker Pack as far as early game blockers go. So I really like this list. Huge congrats to Thomas, and I think it's fantastic to see Blue-White take down the first ever World Championship Regionals. Let's move on to the next list, which was second place, and someone you guys might even know, and a fellow content creator. Let's check it out. Coming in second place for this event was Green Blue 1 Year War. No shocker here, but it was really cool to see Ibo, fellow content creator, and I'll include his links below. It's Ibo Academy. I'm sure some of you have already seen his stuff before, but he also got second place on this event with Green Blue 1 Year War, which is a deck he's made over the course of this whole entire season. I believe he got a top 4 finish with it in GDO 1 and a top 8 finish in GDO 2, so he's very familiar with the deck, and the deck hasn't changed much. As you can see from the list, it is really just what it is, and that's not a negative. I think 1 Year War is a really hard deck to play. I've gone on record saying this, and some people like to kind of troll about it, saying that, oh, they just turn cards sideways. No, they don't. A good 1 Year War player doesn't. Yes, of course, a 1 Year War player can just play down its cards and then just attack. Any 1 Year War player can do that, but a good 1 Year War player will know when to pass. Passing is critical and is a skill. You can go watch his games at Dusseldorf and you will see Ibo putting on a clinic, honestly. He knew when to attack, he knew when to pass, and he played the deck fantastically. He really did. And as a fellow content creator, I want to highlight when, and competitive player, obviously, I'm a competitive player before even a content creator. I want to highlight when people excel extremely well with one deck. And this was done extremely well. Ibo has mained this deck like I've played green-white, all of GDO 1 and GDO 2. He's done that with green-blue, and he's excelled at every event he's done. So nothing but impressive things to say. I'm not gonna harp on the list because the list is exactly as what we've seen win, literally no changes. Though I guess the one interesting thing we can talk about real quick is that there is no Char's Gelgoog, which can be included. Doesn't have to be there. It's literally the one thing of debate, I'd say. And you could say white base could be argued, also doesn't need to be there. I like the way Ibo played it, and that's how I would play it. And that really kind of wraps this. I think 1 Year War is in a great spot. I think it's always been a great spot. It's probably still the best aggro deck, and I expect to still see it at future World Championship regional events, and I expect it to still do extremely well. Now, lastly, we'll get over into a deck that also isn't much of a surprise to anyone. In third place, we have Edwin's Green-White Wing Zero. Now, Edwin did not get his invite to Worlds, unfortunately. It's only reserved for first and second place at the Dusseldorf World Championships. However, I still want to highlight what Edwin accomplished because I think he accomplished a lot. Third place at a national event is extremely good, and he has a lot to be excited about. Now, he does some things in his list that are interesting and that we have seen since its inception, from back when, I helped create Green-White Wing Zero way back in July at the Eagle's Nest event to where it is now. And we've seen Green-White make evolutions throughout formats and even tournament to tournament. And that's something I'm going to go over in a future video where I break down pretty much my 2025 season, where from that Eagle's Nest event where I first put together Green-White Wing Zero, and look at how far it's come, because you really can see how a deck can evolve through the evolution of green-white and how it has to also adapt. And Edwin did some interesting choices that I liked. In Edwin's list, we can see some creative things that he chose to do. We'll start by just going over the blocker package. Here he ran 3 Zoert, 4 Libereth, and 2 Rick Diaz with 3 Striker Pack. I think that's kind of what we talk about when we look at early game blockers, especially if you're not playing Launcher Strike. Why play Launcher Strike right now? Well, I think Launcher Strike is really good right now because Fatal Strike is in the format, and Fatal Strike can remove a lot of blockers where Launcher Strike can survive, and Launcher Strike can also come in with a Cure attached. So it has multiple things that it can do for you. I like the card a lot. However, we have Sword Strike in this list to take up that slot and to also help and hedge our aggro matchups. I think that's fine. And I think since we are playing so many swords, I think this blocker count of 9 blockers, 12 a striker pack really is fine. I really do. I think this is fine. I love the 2-wing bird mode. That's what I just used in Orlando regionals. I'm on 2 bird mode. I love it. We see 3 Ales. I like 4. I always play 4. But we have Death Scythe here. We have 3 of them. And then we have 3 Wing Gundams, 2 Justice, and 4 Wing Zero. Now the top end is exactly what I played at Orlando. I also played 4 Wing Gundams, 2 Justices, but I played 4 Starter Wings. I think Starter Wing is insanely good and the best card against blue-white. It is so good against blue-white. I'm kind of iffy with Death Scythe, right? Like, our friend here played 10 pilots. I did that in Dallas, and I went 7-2, which is still good, but I felt so bad about my 2 losses. I lost because each game I had 5 or more pilots in hand. True story. Like, it just feels so bad to play the game that way to me. So I like to be at 8 to 9 pilots. 10 just feels a little greedy for me. Worked great for Edwin. That's just something I want to make note of because the 3 Death Scythe and 3 Duo, I like the split of the way he did it though. If you're going to do it, I think 3 Hero, 3 Duo is fine, and 4 Kira. I think that's fine. Duo is also fantastic on Ale Strike because it can't be Amuro naturally, so that's really good. Blue, purple, pink can find ways to ping it and then Amuro it, but against something like green, blue, they have a hard time dealing with an Ale Strike that has a Duo attached. So what else here? There is 1 path to victory. That's fine. Since he's running the Duos and since he's running the Death Scythe, it makes more sense to play the 1 of. I'm okay with that. I really would like to see a 4th Wing Gundam instead though, just because I think that card is fantastic. But he's kind of doing that as his like 4th overflowing, since he's only running 3 overflowing. And when you think about it like that, I think it's a lot better. I really like this list. If I was to play Death Scythe, I think I'd play it exactly like this. And shout out to Edwin because I do think it is a really good list, especially knowing that the field's a little smaller and all I have to do is make top cut and then this deck gets insanely better. But if you go look, spoilers for those who want to go watch the stream, which I will include in the description below, but spoilers, Game 3, our friend Edwin here had way too many pilots in hand, and it was definitely one of the reasons he lost the game. So I do think 10 pilots is a lot. That's just my advice to you guys. But I'm really happy to see it worked for Edwin. 3rd place is something to be so proud of, and hats off to him. Well, that does it for our top 3 decks at the Bandai Fest Dusseldorf event. I'm super happy with the results. I think it's really cool to see Epyon come out and win the event, see a GDO2 card kind of get a little more, you know, into the limelight. I think that's good for the game. And I'm super excited for all the reveals that were done on stream as well. I cannot recommend watching the stream enough. You can even scrub through to the Gundam parts if you'd like. The Gundam games were really good and a super high level. So I recommend you guys go check that out. And thank you as always, guys, for watching this. Please like, comment, subscribe so you don't miss any future Gundam content I make. Thanks for watching.